Joining me now is co-host of Steve Bannon's War Room, Natalie Winters. Great to see you, Natalie, and I hope you've got your American Eagle jeans on. Natalie, I called this segment American Renaissance for a very good reason. Let's have a listen to Donald Trump.
The U.S. Treasury has taken in $150 billion from tariffs, and we'll be adding about $200 billion next month for totals that nobody's ever seen before, frankly. And foreign imports were down 30% in the second quarter, while the domestic auto production surged by a stunning 36%.
Natalie, we've just learned that our tariffs will only be 10%, so we're very lucky. But America is now indisputably the greatest power on earth, and without question, Donald Trump is the leader of the free world. This week, Donald Trump went to Scotland and he held court. Not only the British Prime Minister, but also the unelected EU President were forced to come to his residence in Scotland, and they left on his terms with two great trade deals for America. Even the TDS, tedious mainstream media, had to agree.
The early reviews are in on the new trade deal announced with the European Union. The Financial Times says the deal marks a victory for Trump.
Is this a fantastic deal then struck by Donald Trump?
Absolutely a victory on behalf of the Trump administration.
Isabel, the bottom line is this is the biggest trade deal in President Trump's effort to effectively reshape the global trading order.
Natalie, how difficult is it for the left-wing media to admit they got it totally wrong?
Oh, we are so back. That's what so many Americans have been saying, frankly, I think, since President Trump won the election. But again, the experts are always wrong, whether all the economic doomsayers probably all being paid off by the Chinese Communist Party to shoot down these tariffs. But I think you really hit the nail on the head talking about how America is really, I think, reasserting its role as a global superpower, using our influence for good. And I'd probably add the other example to the list you just rattled off, that being what we're doing with regard to Brazil, right? Using American economic power to tariff and in some cases sanction rogue, corrupt judges over there, particularly because they're engaging in censorship, not just of their own people, but of Americans, and I'm sure Australians too, who dare to speak out about a myriad of issues. So it's wonderful to see, I think, President Trump's tariff agenda working not just on the fiscal and economic front, but I also think in a lot of these deals, if you really read the fine print, there are a lot of geostrategic and national security kind of promises intertwined in these deals, particularly on the countering Chinese aggression in the South China Sea or other areas, that front too. So I think that this really is a symbolic and strategic win for the Trump administration.
Absolutely, Natalie. Donald Trump also waded into European domestic politics, telling British Prime Minister Keir Starmer and, as I said, the EU's von der Leyen that, for example, windmills are a disaster, and he told them that out-of-control immigration has to stop, and he even took a swipe at that repulsive mayor of London, Sadiq Khan. Have a listen.
Europe has a big immigration problem, but they also liked when I said that they have one of the worst mayors anywhere in the world in London. He's a horrible mayor, nasty guy, stupid guy in my opinion, but he's a nasty man, and I want nothing to do with him.
Natalie, I don't think American power has been greater since the end of the Second World War.
Well, I think for so long under Biden, we saw, I think, the power of the American regime be used against our own people, right? To lock people up, to silence people, to censor people, to debank people, deplatform people. The list of verbs I could use goes on and on and on. But it's nice to see, like I said, American power being used for good to talk about, I think, a lot of the issues, whether it's mass migration or the cultural stuff that a lot, especially these kind of globalist European elites, certainly don't want to talk about. But President Trump, as he always does, he is a blunt force instrument. And just by holding a simple press conference in a lot of these other countries, he forces national conversations. Like I think we saw, the grooming gang scandal sort of be reinvigorated, a discussion over that in the UK. So it's wonderful. I think they should talk more and more about mass immigration, and frankly, they should boost those mass deportation numbers here in the United States. But it's nice to hear him always linking that issue to culture, because that's what it's about. And I know in a lot of these European countries, if you say that, you're going to get censored. So it's nice to have President Trump saying what I'm sure probably the majority, probably excluding the recent refugee resettlers, but having the majority of people having it said out loud by the President of the United States is a comforting feeling.
Thanks, Natalie, and we'll see you again next week.